Hey everybody, real quick, let me explain something. I just decided I might make a more frequent offer to customers, but I want to let it the do-it-yourselfers, the ones who have a general fix-it-up-yourself knowledge. I want to explain why I've made my own fuel pump wiring improvement kit. Racetronix does make a good kit, and you don't have to do any termination yourself. It's plug and play. But I am not a fan of having to use the actual circuit under hood. Now, the Racetronix uses, what they do is instead of the stock circuit goes through the 20 amp fuel pump or 25 amp fuel pump fuse to supply the fuel pump relay right here. This fuel pump relay works by receiving its turn on signal from the computer. So the computer will not tell the fuel pump to turn on unless it senses RPM. And that's a universal safety for every car system, every race car computer, every stock computer. And we need to keep that system. That may be why Racetronix actually just kind of tap in and keep this system in place. Because what they do is they use the 12 volt supply wire that goes back to the fuel pump, which is a smaller gauge wire. It's adequate for stock systems. They use that as the turn on signal for their bigger relay, and that bigger relay, rightly so, takes power supply from either wherever, if you plug it into your alternator or your battery or your 12 volt post here. What it does is allows that to be the main feed for 12 volts for your fuel pump. Good idea. It gives it a solid, a bigger gauge, more reliable 12 volt supply. Now all I'm doing is that exact same thing, but I'm not using the stock 12 volt power as the turn on signal to a relay. I am using the computer. The computer turn on signal is one of the pins under here. So I've spliced into that pin and maintained it into this circuit. This circuit is still active, but not being used. But I grabbed onto that computer turn on plus 12 volts, and now I tell it to turn on this relay right here under hood. It's protected by a 40 amp fuse. This is the computer turn on signal. It turns on this. This is a 2 circuit MSD relay. One spare. Notice there's one spare, and it's 40 amps. So in order for a 12 volt on signal, you got to have ground then for your relay. So this is grounded to right there. So this is that computer turn on signal, the relay, and this 12 volt, it's a 10 gauge Tefsel wire. Look up Tefsel, please, so I don't have to explain. It's a much higher quality. It's tinned. It's I guess it means that it's a Teflon jacketing. It's a stiffer wire, easier to work with, higher quality, used in upgrade jobs and used in race cars. This goes straight back to the fuel pump. So the only thing I'm doing different is higher quality wire. This is costly. A roll of it is, I don't even want to tell you how much it costs. But all I'm doing is totally bypassing the stock fuse and stock relay, and I'm taking the actual signal from the computer and inserting my own relay and using higher quality power supply wire. And that's terminated back at the fuel pump. So if you're following along that still, because here is the actual drawing. And Notice PCM gives the signal. If there's RPM, it says, come on, fuel pump, let's run. This is the wire that goes into the fuel pump relay. It's 12 volts. You know, there's a ground for that. It's a 5-pin relay, 3 on one side and 2 on the other. Excuse me. So there's a ground already, and this, because it needs a ground because it's activated by this 12 volts. So stock, it's the underhood fuse center. So that the fuse, and that fuse supplies power if the relay was closed, then 12 volts, then comes from this 15 amp fuse, goes straight back to the fuel pump. 15 amp fuse. What I'm doing is just taking this, I tapped into it, left this plugged in. Actually, I pulled the pin out, I re-terminate, I add a wire and I re-terminate a pin, plug the pin back in, so there's a wire coming out, and that goes to my relay. It's still safe like it should be. And keep that in mind if you ever want to improve yours and you don't have time for the Racetronix to get to you, you can wire up your own. You don't have to use the fancy relays and the fancy wiring. You get whatever relay you want, but find this wire. You can go right to the computer if you want, and grab it there, and then have your circuit off to the side somewhere else. It doesn't have to be over here. What do you think? Carl L. Line Engines, take care.